Ladies and gentlemen, pull out your hair ties. It's time to let your hair down and truly get funky.
Welcome once again to All That's Hair, the podcast that explores the business of beauty. I'm here once more with Leonardo and Marco Redavid. How are you guys?
Hey, Ken. Not too bad. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. All right, so now we're 5 episodes in. I thought I would drop the opening paragraph here. You guys know at this point what we're about. We're gonna be talking about things that are relevant to beauty professionals and salon owners, really digging into the beauty industry in the series. And today, Leo, I know you've been chomping at the bit for this one. We're going to be talking about 2022 hair trends.
All right. I love it.
So firstly, for some context, skinny jeans came back. Mom jeans came back. Jenko jeans, those giant balloon jean pants came back. Bell bottoms, the shag, the bob, even 1980s crimped hair, all has returned. Even vinyl is having a moment. Sales of vinyl records are at a 6-year high, and new vinyl pressing plants are opened. What the hell is going on?
Oh, I love it.
It's crazy.
80s. Here we go.
It's absolutely crazy.
It was creative. 80s were very creative times, and a lot of different looks that came out of the 80s. And I see it, kind of creeping in today. But, I'm a totally different take on them. But it's really fun.
You know what it is? I feel like the more that we talk about crazy things like the metaverse, with Facebook's announcement that they're really investing into the concept of the metaverse, where we would have in the future, and I'm sure that they won't exploit this, a digital avatar of ourselves. And I saw this crazy demonstration footage of a shopping experience in a metaverse Walmart, where you literally, you have your helmet on and you're walking through the store, and you're like swiping over here, you're doing price checks, you're dropping them into your cart, and then you digitally walk out the door. And then that's it. The order's processed and it ships out to you. But it plays more like a video game. And, all of this confluence of technology, it's got me thinking that for the more crazy and digital we become, it seems like the hungrier we are for more simplistic times and simplistic things, like listening to vinyl records and, thinking about how we dressed back in the 90s. Like, we get nostalgic for that stuff.
Yeah, things are, I just heard yesterday on the radio that Girls Just Want to Have Fun song just got 1 billion views, just hit the billion view mark on YouTube, like out of nowhere, just, was just wild, right? Stuff comes back and people are, they're seeing stuff for the first time, like your foam rollers and things like that come out that they've never seen before.
But it's really fun because, like playing a vinyl, the sound is just so soothing and beautiful. And it's really cool and funky when you look at, that record player.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
I collect vinyls myself, and, you go over to the shelf and you pick out one and you open it up and you pull it out and you place it on the turntable and you move the needle, and it's a lot more to it than just pressing play on your phone and listening to some music. So I'm a big fan of vinyls and coming back the way
it's just class too. It's just a certain class that it has, when you're looking at that vinyl or the record player. It's a whole different experience when you're handling it. It feels like you're creating the music almost when you put it on.
Yeah, I think two different time periods embody different things to us. There's a warmth to them. And even in the instance of vinyl records, or particularly songs that we go back to, we develop such rich and tactile, sensorial connection to a way we looked, or a way that we felt in a particular time period, I think, which is what continually fuels this. And they never come back in the same way. There's a principle called the trend cycle. And this cycle is a real thing. It dictates that every 20 to 30 years, the old does literally become new again. But it comes back with a twist. Like right now, it's all about the 90s and early 2000s hair trends, where we see a lot of that stuff coming back. But it's the new shag, the new pixie, the new bob. So it's not the same exact thing. It's just a little bit different. And it picks up some of those influences of the modern era where, maybe the shag is kind of less wild and maybe a little more structured or smoothed in a way, where it's more about like, that PC texture than it is like, the massive kind of big hair.
Yeah, it's just too, is the product that we're using. It make you achieve like a softer look, more movement in that hair. You can piece it better than you used to back in the days. So it's product play a big part in a lot of these new looks that we're looking at the moment.
Yeah, and trends in hair go through the same cycle that fashion does, and a lot of times they're repurposed by celebrities. The one big thing that I saw in 2021, which I am still just blown away by, is the fact that TikTok has become the go-to place on the internet, more so than Google. It's crazy, to the point that now, and we're going to talk about this a little later in the episode, TikTok is reigniting hair trends. Gen Z is taking these classic looks, doing their own twist on them, and rediscovering things like foam rollers, Leo, which you've been using. They're like, look at these things. And, for a younger generation who's never seen them before, this is like completely wild. So everybody starts using them. And then for an older generation who has used them, it taps into that nostalgia effect, and then they start using them too. So you get this weird, like, cross demographic embracing of a hair trend that's kind of come and gone and then come back again.
I mean, like perms, but now it's the men that are getting the perms. The young kids that have these big perm tops now that are happening. They're crazy. Awesome. Yeah.
I love TikTok because I found it's a really great creative, because you gotta do something new and different to get all the likes, right? So that's why they're being quite creative, and I love it. People are discovering, more stuff to do with hair, and I love it,
Yeah, it's 90s and Y2K is all the fad right now. That TikTok effect. So some interesting trends that came back last year that we thought were dead and came back again because of TikTok. Velcro roller sets, Leo.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're great. They're fun. You just have to use them in different ways. They're great.
The last time I saw a Velcro roller set was at my Nona's house in that big plastic container. Sitting under the cupboard, right? The big piece of plastic with all the different sizes of the Velcro rollers in there. That's the last time I saw one of those.
Marco, they're very funky, man. Like, a 20-year-old would see that and go, wow, that's cool. So they're really funky. Oh. They're new again, to be honest. They're great.
Yeah, and what particularly with what happened with them on TikTok, it was the huge oversized rolls. There was a trend too that went viral where people were taking cans like Campbell's soup cans, coffee cans, and doing like these huge rolls, because it visually, like, if you want something to go viral on TikTok, you do something completely ridiculous looking. like taking potato chip bags and, you know, wrapping hair in them? Or?
He did it with the lip balms. So he did a roller set with all of our Redavid lip balms once, you know, them to do the curls. Yeah, it's funny.
You know, I've used sometimes I make hair pieces, Ken, and you got to mold something. So I used to use PVC pipes, and I used to, gel the hair around that PVC pipe, and to use gelatin and hairspray, and then just pull them out, and you get a beautiful round circle hair. So you just have to play. I think that everybody is starting to play. I think they're getting away from the beach, look.
Yeah, doing something way different.
Yeah.
Bubble ponytails came back.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those?
Oh, yeah. They're fun.
Yep. Long sections of hair. You tie off different sections and you pull it out, make a bubble.
Yeah,
they're really fun, and the clothing, it's great. I love those bell bottoms. Yeah. I think they look great.
I think too in shape and form, the 70s fashion is coming back. So the looks are more silhouettes, more flowing, lighter clothing. Particularly, you see a lot if you follow the Kardashians and the things that they wear. It's all very 70s inspired, from the hair to the fashion, and it all works. Like visually, it's stunning looking.
Yeah, I love it. We were one time, I think we were in a store, and there was this young girl that was the first time I saw a young lady wearing the bell bottoms. I just loved it. I go to Marco, look, bell bottoms.
Yeah, a trend I've seen, graduations, grade 12 girls, bell bottoms, in their photos, it's all 70s looks, big Farrah Fawcett style blow dries and, fluffy blow dries and stuff. It's kind of cool. It's wild.
Well, it's more free. I found it, it's a more freer look. It's just a lot more fun, not so structured. I think that's the biggest part that's happening with the hair. It's don't make it look all blow dried beautifully and and smooth. It's just got a lot more freer look.
The shag.
Oh, I love it.
That style has become pretty timeless. It first came back in a big way 8 years ago now, and it seems that each year it goes through a little bit different a twist. So it came back as the modern shag. Then that brought back the mullet. Then that became the shullet.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up. And then that became the wolf cut, the octopus cut, and now the mixie, which is like a mix between a pixie and a mullet.
Yeah. They're great, Ken. They're absolutely fabulous. I find that they're creative. They're different. A lot of the people haven't seen them before. There's a lot of hairdressers don't know how to do them yet.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of learning on all these different haircuts that you're seeing out and about. But for me, I love them. I've been doing them for a long time, and I play with it all the time. And you can make so many different variation from them. Once you have a base of a shag or a pixie, or you can really start modifying the way you want them, and depends what the person is wearing, and personality and all that kind of stuff.
What I find with all these new looks, the common denominator across them is low maintenance.
Yeah.
Easy to style, quick to go, can wear them, when you're dressed up, or you can wear them when you're dressed down. They're just simple, low maintenance haircuts that grow in nicely and are easy to style.
You're going to find lots more movement in the hair is going to happen. People that have straight hair, they might have to get into doing some bending in the hair. I don't like calling them perms. I think I like them more bending, and start bending the hair. You're going to find that's going to be a big play in the next little while, because a lot of people have never had them before.
Mm-mm.
So it's new again.
Yeah, and I think too, ironically enough, lockdown influenced a lot of these too, where there was time in between being able to get into a hairdresser. And trends were already starting to shift this way, but it accelerated it. And I think the shag, to your point, Leo, it grows out really well. You have all of that PC texture, and it's really forgiving in terms of, increasing length before you have to get back in to a stylist to trim it up in a way that, if you have the runway model, sleek, straight hair, like that takes a lot of work and maintenance and
it's more free. I find that it's just more free. That's the word I could describe them. It's just don't worry about them. Just run your hands through it, then you're done.
Yeah, which is also fueling the rise of people really demanding leave-in conditioners. Yeah, and using those sometimes in place of stylers, where people are really going for things that are going to enhance volume. Are going to offer conditioning benefits with just a little bit of tackiness to give it that texture, which is why we ended up broadening ours. There's that real hunger and demand for leave-in conditioners right now.
Leave-in conditioner is going to be a huge key with all the shags, because usually a shag will look even better the next day.
Yeah.
And, and then, it gets a little bit woolly and it starts to get more flyaways. And, our orchid oil leave-in conditioner and our shea butter leave-in conditioner and our cedar wood leave-in conditioner, they're absolutely amazing for those type of looks today.
Yeah,
we love them. A lot of people are loving them.
Like along with that too, overnight curls without heat. So there's for every trend, there's a counter trend. So people are now really bucking against thermal style and looking for more like head out the door, minimum maintenance, where you put socks. There was a huge viral trend on TikTok where people were actually taking like men's tube socks and doing their hair in those, going to bed, waking up, unraveling them, and then you got a curl that lasts for a day or a little bit of wave.
I used to do that. I used to, get a pillow sheet, and I used to just cut some section out of it. And when I used to do model shows, I used to tie the hair in them, and the clients used to go and sleep in it, come back at the show and take them out. They're absolutely awesome.
That's awesome. Big bouncy blowouts. So people like that Farrah Fawcett look that you were talking about, Marco, where people are going for that like 70s kind of, big hair with the feathery ends, nicely cut.
I was just working on one, Ken. I'll show it to you. I'm not finished with. I showed Marco, and and it's all sweeping back. It's really cool. I love it. I haven't finished it yet. I got maybe one more mannequin to try, and I think I got a really cool new look that we're gonna teach that you're gonna love.
That's awesome. Yeah, people love that kind of that feathery look there. Peeling away from particularly the face, where you can really create a lot of movement and draw the eye down or outward, and really enhance the face quite a bit.
I really love these new looks right now. They're in my looks is where it's at.
Jumbo box braids. So braiding is really come back in a big way. You see a lot more clients that have naturally textured hair, really going in for getting box braids done of all different lengths, really embracing their culture, their heritage. I've seen a lot of really high profile celebrities who are really embracing the different types of braids that originate back to Africa, where you're incorporating gold string or foil or pearls or beads or hair gems, all of which is very traditional there.
I used to love it. I think my first time doing braids, it was Bo Derek, many, many years ago. And I had a movie star that came into the salon, and it took me 8 hours to put, I think it was about a 15-pound ceramic beads in her hair. That was my first experience putting jewelry in the hair. It took me forever, but it was so beautiful. it's fun.
Curtain bangs and fringe, also another classic look that's come back once more.
Yeah.
Feather hair extensions and tinsel. Tinsel was having a moment, close to the holidays where people are actually putting strings of tinsel in their hair.
Seen that. My dad used to put feathers in his hair. I remember that. He used to have different colored feathers in his hair, depending on his mood and, where he was in. Oh, yeah, all the time. I used to see him put it behind his ear and stuff, his little feathers and things. Yeah. But he sold a lot in the salon. He was an advertisement, and then he put some feathers in.
Exactly. You got to wear it.
Yeah. Exactly. You got to have fun. Yeah. It's a fun industry. People, I think they forget how fun our industry is. And I really love it, what's going on right now. I find that it's getting more creative. For a while, it was just like the same. Everybody was doing the
beachy
same
waves.
Thing.
That's it. Oh, I used to hate it every time. Oh, beachy waves again. I think we went to a trade show a couple of years ago, and we just walked the floor, and every single booth was doing beachy waves. And my dad was like, "Can I learn something different here, please? Like, I'd like to learn something else."
It's great. Yeah. Right now, it's a real fun time in the industry. A lot of people getting creative, and I think them being at home, I think they're practicing more. They were doing more creativity.
Particularly, again, that's the TikTok effect, where we see a lot of particularly younger people, in their late teens into their early 30s, seeing a lot of this stuff on TikTok and really getting wild with some of these at-home beauty hacks. Some good, some not so good. I mean, I've seen some hair fails. I think the worst one that we saw there a couple of years ago was the blonde challenge, where people were overusing blue shampoo to really negative effects.
Leaving it in overnight.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Another trend right now that's happening in a big way is expensive brunette. Going into the winter season, traditionally it's a time when clients in the salon are looking for more richer, warmer tones. And that expensive brunette trend is something that's really rocking out now, where it's about customization. So a mix in between gingerbread, which is a nice sandy light color. It's next door to dark blonde. There's Sable, which is a rich and dark chocolatey brunette that's classified as expensive looking because it looked like you spent $300 on it. Chocolate milk, if you're going for something in between the two. All of these really rely on that kind of ultra shiny look to give it that tonality, which again is driving up the demand for things like hair oils, leave-in conditioners, where you need that hair to have that rich tonality just with the oil or cream.
And conditioning, you're gonna find if some clients have had highlights before, they kind of get tired, and be able to go back to a richer color all over. It's quite beautiful. There's really nice when you have a healthy looking color that it's shiny and the hair is conditioned. It's quite nice.
All right, Leo, we're going to put you on the spot. So,
oh boy,
I'm coming into your salon.
Yeah.
And I've just seen this wild TikTok trend.
Yeah.
And what do you do to redirect a client that is really riding a trend that may or may not be good for them? What are the questions that you ask, or how do you redirect them into something different if you know it's not going to work?
I find that you have to be really honest with that customer. First of all, it's a package. I see them as a whole package. Do they have the wardrobe? First of all, that they're gonna wear for that look, whatever they're showing me. You know, that person's probably dressed, you know, funky, and you know, it's got the whole package. So to me, it's the whole package, and that's where I start with. You know, if she shows me a picture, I'll tell, okay, do you have this type of clothing? You know, do you wear this kind of makeup? Are you willing to, you know, get the makeup done and all the changes you need? And then at the end, you got to have to make sure that she's got the right hair to be able to achieve that look. Mm-hmm. If the hair is not there, I'm pretty straightforward. I will say, sorry, darling, there's no way we can do this. But I always try to find a way to get to that look, but there might be an adjustment to it where it's not exactly that, but it'll have a same feeling of that would suit that customer. Yeah. So, you know, that's the important. Don't shut it down. You can't have it, but there's always a modification to that look. That depends, you know, how old the client is and the hair type and all that kind of stuff. You can definitely adjust it.
Like when I told my dad I want to grow my hair long, like, you know, Casey from Yellowstone, he says, not before you get a hair transplant surgery, because I'm too thin and it'll just look greasy and, you know, thin. And you got to have lots of hair to grow long and to have that nice flowing hair. So there are limitations to the hair type, whether you can make that look for somebody. And that's an important thing to kind of let them know.
You got to have the canvas to be able to do the right painting of, you know, what you're doing. And the hair, it starts all with the hair. The clothing you can change, the makeup, you can make it happen. But you got to have the material to get that look. It's number one.
And, you know, in our last episode too, we were talking about asking questions in terms of the consultation. And some of these looks, depending on what they are, also require like a modification in terms of your morning or evening routine. Particularly, you know, if it's a blowout, you need to be ready to do the blowout. You know, if you're going for that lived-in curl look, you need to set your hair in socks every night if you're going to commit to making this work. So I think that's a component of it too.
Yeah, it's really important that the client, that again, you know, it's a new avenue that they've never gone down to, and they got to be able to learn, you know, how to do the hair can, like you said, you know, they got to have it all. And if they're willing to do all that, and at the end of the day, if the hair is the right type, for sure. Yeah. You know.
You know, talking about when you talked about customizing a little bit to meet it in the middle, what would be an example of you doing that? How would you find like a happy medium if someone came to you with a particular look and you were trying to customize it towards them?
So let's say that they would like a pixie, but her hair, it's like really, really fine that you can almost see the scalp, where sometimes, you know, I would do some soft fringes in the front, but try to go, you know, a little bit shorter on top, that the hair could kind of stand up a little bit more. You have to kind of customize, you know, that hair to what that hair can handle. Every material, you can only do so much with it. And you got to really be very good with that material, how far you can push it. I can push it pretty good because I've been doing it forever, and I've worked with so many different material that, you know, I can make something happen and modify it to, you know, please that customer.
What about as far as creating trends or finding inspiration, which is something you do quite a lot of. And I think a lot of stylists, you know, we get used to creating a portfolio of work, you know, when you're in school and, you know, you're putting your mannequin heads out there, or you're working on your own collection that you do for social media. And then we get kind of stuck in the sea of same, where, you know, you very quickly, you find yourself doing the same haircuts, and you get disconnected a little bit from that artistic side of you. I think each stylist really thinking about how they can do their own collection at least once a year is a great way for them to stay outside that box, which is something that you do, Leo, because you're always playing. Where do you find inspiration to kind of create your own trends or to take a trend and then make it your own?
It's really funny I'm in the salons all the time. And so is Marco. And I see so many different hair every day. So to me, walking into a salon, talking about my product, talking about the hair, and watching some stylists doing hair, sometimes I'll look at one client and it's got this really funky looking, bang that's hanging down and it's twirling at the bottom. And then sometimes I'm thinking, well, I'll shave the one side and leave that one twirl in the front. So sometimes looking at different pieces of hair that you like and then try to make something come out of it. And that takes practice. You got to get a mannequin and you got to practice the different looks. Looks come from watching other people doing hair and then be able to create your own vision if it comes in. Normally I'll see something coming in and I think, oh man, I like the front of that hair, but I can do something different with the back to fit the front. And that's how, everything starts to happen.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll come into the office and he's already in here and he's got the door closed and the music on and his mannequin going and he's practicing things, and I'll come by and I'll be like, ugh. And then he'll be like, all right, back to the drawing board. And, it tries a different one. And he just continues to just work on things and create. And, it goes back to how you learned and how you taught yourself. He used to go to the best hairdressers in Vancouver and volunteer his time. Say, hey, I'll sweep your floors. I'll do your shampoos. I just want to watch you work. And then he takes pieces from every hairdresser and then incorporates them into his own looks and stuff. And I think that's important to this day. One of the reasons when we're out on the road and my dad will, give out his cell phone number to hairdressers and say, hey, send me your look, send me your stuff, because he gets inspiration from it as well, and, he never stops learning either. We go to education classes and we go to shows and he likes to learn and be up there still. So continuing to learn and then putting your own spin on it is such a huge piece of the puzzle when it comes to, creating trends and stuff. And, he's always working on the mannequins. There's about 50 of them just around behind this camera here, especially through the pandemic. And that's also why I think, some trends have come out of this and some new looks have happened, is because people were bored and they're inside and we're working on mannequins and you're just creating. So,
and to me, I find that I've been doing it for so long, and from my heart, I really love it. You never really get old cutting hair because it's a material that you can bend, you can shape any which way you want to. It's just having the imagination to make it happen. And when I see something that comes in and I know it hits that little nerve that says, oh, wow, I can change something in this or make it happen, that's when I go straight to it right away. I remember Marco, we went on the road and I said, dude, I think I got a new look that I want to work on. I saw this girl at the drive-in and there was no much to her hair, but I really liked it. When I come back, I'm going to play with it, and I'm playing with it right now that I got a cool, funky look.
Sonic or something?
The lady
milkshake.
Yeah, we grabbed a milkshake at Sonic, so and my dad was like, "Well, I like your hair," and I was like, "Oh no, we were at." Yeah, I think it was Sonic, and we were driving somewhere, and we saw her, and then she told us she was going pink the next day or something, and we're like, oh, okay, that'd be good. My dad was like, I think you should go more like purple, but, just my 2 cents, tells her where to go, but she's like, oh, okay, so, inspiration can come anywhere, really, I guess.
And, color, if you're looking at color, our sun is absolutely amazing because a sun rays will hit a leaf and it changes that color in that leaf, and it's got all sorts of different, works in it in that leaf when you look at it. So all around you, it's everything. It's just be able to clear your mind. That's the first thing, not worrying about, your kids or the wife or, anything that you got going on in your life, is really kind of center yourself and really start creating. That's important. It's all around us. Everything that we see, we can change or modify, or it's quite easy. It's just having the time to practice. That's the big part.
Yeah, I think too, that's one of the biggest differences between like the Canadian and UK and American market, is the mentorship model is something that you don't really see here. That's something that shaped how you grew up, Leo.
Yeah.
In that it's not about competing with hairdressers. It's in putting yourself in like a creative think tank, and you're all feeding off each other. It's why I love reading about and watching videos from like the 50s and 60s, when it was like the who's who of hairdressing over like in Mayfair, London, all learning from each other. They were all watching each other. They were all challenging each other, inspiring each other, competing with each other. Like it created all kinds of things.
Totally. Yeah. For me, I like, and I use the term, I prefer collaboration over competition, because, we can all grow together. And, I'm excited to announce that in April, I'm probably jumping the gun a bit because we haven't quite announced it, but Redavid we're going to be doing a traveling hair show throughout Texas with Olivia Garden and Wall. Big brands together on the same stage, as opposed to, constantly competing with each other. We're going to be together. We're going to be creating and giving back education to our industry. And that's what it's about, really. And, it's some community. And then our industry has just become so competitive, and
that's how it used to be.
Yeah. We stopped thinking about just growing together and having, a hair show with 20 different brands on the same stage, just coming out. And that's what it's about. And I'm excited. So it's going to be fun. But
I think there's a switch, Marco. A lot of, everybody wants to learn again. Mm-hmm. That's a big one. And the people that, have really worked through these times to create something beautiful, they're going to shine, at the end, So Redavid is working really hard.
So before a final thought here, Leo, is how do you keep from getting burnt out and neglecting that artistic side of yourself?
That's really if you do too much of it. It's like anything else. You do too much of it, you're gonna get burned out, and you got to take a break, and you got to meditate and go for a walk. And sometimes you just have to leave it for a while until you get that feeling. It's like a feeling that comes back. It's like, okay, I got to pick up my scissors and my comb. I want to cut hair. That's when you go back to that creativity. You do not pick up your scissor and a comb when you don't have that feeling. It just doesn't happen. That hair doesn't look good, and then you get frustrated. So you have to really feel it inside when you go and pick up that. But relaxing, you got to take time to have some fun as well. It's not all about, work sometimes.
Disconnecting, but also connecting with other hairdressers, going to trade shows.
I love shows.
Go to education classes, go there and feed that side of you that got you into the industry, that curiosity, that excitement about it. Go back there and engage with some brands, engage with hairdressers, join some groups on Facebook, connect and try to get inspired again. For him, if he doesn't get a vacation a year, he's I gotta go. And then he comes back and I'm like, okay, Dad's going on a vacation. I better get my notepad ready for when he comes home, because he's got all these ideas just from disconnecting and, just refreshing yourself. So that's a huge piece of the puzzle. And especially, we're so hooked to our phones and to technology and to that, it can get exhausting just being on there. So disconnect for a while and, ground yourself and get out there. And, we were in Jerome, Arizona, which is this little mining town on the side of the cliff, but it had this cool energy. And we also were in Sedona, and going to some vortexes and trying to gain some energy from these cool places on Earth. And him and our partner Dave here, who's from Greg Dawson Associates, were taking their shoes and socks off and grounding themselves in like this little tiny piece of grass they found because it had cool energy. And I'm sitting there like, this is how I know I'm not an artist. I'm the business side of things because I'm not doing it. But these guys are like, just absorbing the sun's rays and feeling the energy from the ground.
It was incredible.
Just getting connected to the earth again. And that's a sort of spiritual side of you, if you will. So that's something important to do as well.
It's really important to, shut down. It's like anything else we use, it does break if you use something too much. Cars break down if you use them too much, and they got to go in and get repairs and get tuned up. You're an emotional spirit, and you have to really kind of shut down and go for a nice walk where you don't hear no traffic, you don't hear any people talking, where you're really with nature, and you'd be surprised you come back out of there and all of a sudden, all the monkey chattering that's going into your brain, it's all shut off.
Yeah.
And you can start creating again.
It's like a muscle. You want to exercise it, but not sprain it.
Yeah, exactly, Ken.
And sometimes it needs a little physical therapy.
Yeah.
Well, talking about trends, today's History Bite is actually a man that gave birth to a lot of them. And you want to talk about he became really renowned as the artist's artist, the hairdresser's hairdresser. And I think you'd have to live under a rock if you didn't know who the name Sassoon was. Chances are you probably don't know the name of his teacher and mentor named Ramon. And with a larger-than-life personality and even bigger hairstyles that he created, Ramon Besson was also known as Mr. Teasy Weezy. He was the very first TV hairdresser and kickstarted the concept of celebrity stylists. He was born in Brixton in 1911 and mastered the craft working in his father's barber shop before his opening his own salon in Mayfair. Man, if I had a time machine, Leo, could you imagine? Everything happened in Mayfair.
No kidding.
Oh, no kidding. That's awesome.
Created with popularizing the bouffant hairstyle in the 1950s, he was famous for his immaculate precision cutting technique, his elaborate updos, and his celebrity clientele. The decadent Besson, his salon boasted gilded mirrors, chandeliers. He had flowing champagne fountains, Leo.
I love this guy.
He... the styles too. I've seen some of the video footage. There's some really great of his TV specials where he would have like a gilded carriage pulled in by horses, with women coming out in like Madame Pompadour. It was very impressive. He was not French, but he adopted a fake French accent.
It's like when he puts on the Italian just a little thicker,
Come on. What's the matter for you, man?
He always wore custom-made, very brightly colored wild suits and completed the look with a matching pocket square, a pencil mustache, and exaggerated long cigarette that he always smoked out of a holder. This winning combination of a flamboyant personality and celebrity clientele, along with ridiculous amount of hairdressing skills, brought him to the attention of television producers, and he became an on-screen favorite. During a 1954 television appearance, Ramon demonstrated his cutting technique by snipping off a teasy-weasy bit here and a teasy-weasy bit there, and the catchphrase was born. And from then on, he became known as Mr. Teasy Weasy. He eventually secured his own show on primetime Saturday evening television, where millions of women tuned in to watch him cut hair, his elaborate hairstyles and outfits, making him the talk of the town. Almost overnight, he made British hairdressing glamorous and trips to the salon a theatrical experience. In 1956, Ramon made headlines when actress Deanna Dors flew him to America for a shampoo and set, and reportedly for the cost of £2,500, a sum which in those days could buy a small home. Wow. As well as juggling a celebrity clientele, television career, and numerous salons around the country, Ramon also trained a wealth of hairdressers in his salon, including a young Vidal Sassoon, who said of his mentor, He weaved magic through his work and made us feel we were doing so too. There was only and ever will be one Ramon. True enough. If addressed by one of his customers while walking through the salon, he would shout, "Madame, can you not see that I am meditating?" And he'd walk away.
Wow. Larger than life. Love it.
Yep.
Welcome to art.
Exactly. Yeah. Very artistic. Final thoughts before we come to a close.
Yeah, I have one. I mean, for me, for the hairdressers out there, I feel like just take time for yourself. Don't go, over that limit. Learn from yourself, listen within, take some quiet reflection time and see where you're at and see if you need some more time to rejuvenate or, that's something that he's good at. He always knows when he needs a break, when he needs to take some time off, when he needs to go get grounded and reinvigorate. And, I think, now he's getting a little older. It's got to be every 6 months now, get him reinvigorated. So
hey, be nice.
What about you, Leo?
Don't stop learning. Don't stop learning. Keep cutting hair, keep creating, keep doing what you're doing, but don't get burned out. Like, what Marco said, but what I'm saying is like, keep creating. Grab a mannequin, keep playing. Because when you play, that's when you create, that's when you're happy, and that's when everything happens. So it's keep creating is where it's at.
My advice would be, and I know this is new for many of us, get more comfortable learning new social media platforms. I think most stylists and salons only just now have fully embraced Facebook and Instagram, and now along comes TikTok. It's worth your time to start showcasing your work in that space and check out what other people are doing. There's a lot of hairdressers on there. Again, it's become the go-to place for hair searches on the internet, more so than Google.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Crazy. Love it.
It's good
and that
time.
brings episode 5 to a close.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Ken. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.
See you next
Thanks,
time.
everybody.
Keep having fun.
Bye.